Parenting is hard when you are blissfully married to your children's mother. It is even more difficult once the divorce is final. Not only are two people trying to live in two separate households with the same amount of income as they had when they were living in one house, but now they are also trying to develop their own individual parenting styles, routines, and new traditions. Inevitably, misunderstandings are going to occur and arguments may even ensue. But maintaining a cordial co-parenting relationship with your children's mother is vital to maintaining a relationship with your children and to helping your children grow up to have better relationships with their husbands or wives when they grow up. Here are my top 10 tips to help men in particular have a better co-parenting relationship with their children's mother. First, keep things professional. If there's one thing many of us have learned either through participation in sports, working with other people at your job, or just your daily life, it is you don't have to like someone to get along. Your own mom probably even told you this as a child. I know mine did. The same holds true for co-parenting with your children's mother after your divorce. You may no longer like your children's mother, but you do have to work together to get along. Think of communicating with your former spouse in the same way you would communicate with a coworker or vendor at work. Those communications you have at work are calm, professional, and controlled. Having a similar communication style with your former spouse after your divorce can help the two of you have a more effective co-parenting relationship. Second, keep the lines of communication open. Just like it was important for you and your former spouse to be on the same page regarding your children during your marriage, it is even more important to do so after the divorce is final. Children are amazing at playing the game of both ends against the middle. If your children come to you with a story about how mom lets them have chocolate before bedtime or allows them to stay up till midnight on weekends, don't always assume the worst. Ask your children if they are sure that is what mom lets them do, because you probably need to communicate with mom and make sure. Doing this a few times will usually nip this type of behavior in the bud. You and your former spouse need to communicate about school events, medical appointments, extracurricular activities, bedtimes, social media use, your children's friends, and so much more. Remember to always assume good intent on the part of your former spouse first before jumping to conclusions, and keep the lines of communication open. Third, keep each other in the loop about important issues regarding your children. Our judges traditionally award the parties joint legal custody. This means that both parents have the right to obtain information regarding the children's schooling, medical, dental, and therapeutic treatment, extracurricular activities, religious training, and any legal troubles. It also means that both parents have an affirmative duty to discuss these matters and attempt to reach a unified plan before invoking any tiebreakers regarding these decisions. When one parent keeps this kind of information from the other parent, it is easy to become skeptical of their other behaviors. Always do your part to share any information you may have and attempt to discuss these concerns regarding decisions being made for your children, even if your concerns are not always well received. Fourth, be flexible. Effective co-parenting requires flexibility. Be willing to swap around the days and times you are awarded with the children in order to help out your former spouse when she has a conflict or the children's school or extracurricular activity schedules require them to be somewhere other than home on a scheduled day. One example is playing high school football. It will be impossible for you to pick your child up at 3 p.m. on a Friday when he has a football game. You won't be able to pick him up until after the game. Instead of getting angry about it or demanding that he not play, come to the game, watch him play, and meet him back at the field house afterward. Football only lasts for a few months. Of course, if your children are always scheduled to play sports or be involved in other extracurricular activities during your time with the children, this is something that needs to be addressed. Both parents should be flexible so that children get to spend actual quality time with both parents. The key here is flexibility. Effective co-parents are flexible with one another and the parenting time schedule. Fifth, use a shared calendar to keep up with important dates and request parenting time swaps. Using a shared calendar allows co-parents to keep each other informed of school and extracurricular activity schedules, medical appointments, and other important dates regarding your children. It is also a great tool to assist in requesting parenting time swaps. Another amazing tool is Our Family Wizard or other similar co-parenting programs. These comprehensive cloud-based programs allow you to not only manage a shared calendar for your children, but it also provides a platform for effective, respectful communication between you and your former spouse, and allows for the exchange of bills and payments for your children's expenses. These types of programs can help you and your former spouse keep all the necessary information regarding your children in one place and can help minimize misunderstandings. These types of programs generally have a fee associated with them, but it is far less than the cost of missing your child's game, sending a hateful message to your former spouse that you cannot take back, or paying your attorney to write what I like to call a nastygram to your former spouse. Sixth, create similar ground rules and routines. Do your best to keep the rules at both houses the same. Keep consistent bedtimes for the children at both houses, keep similar social media policies and access to technology rules at both homes, and maintain a similar disciplinary style at both homes. Kids thrive in situations where they have healthy, consistent boundaries. It is your responsibility as a parent to help them learn how to form these boundaries. Working with your former spouse to maintain consistent rules and routines at both homes will benefit your children and will also go a long way to helping your co-parenting relationship with your former spouse. Seventh, always be careful with your words. Throughout this video, you have heard me use the terms your child's other parent or your former spouse. I always do my best to not call my son's father my ex-husband or simply my ex. He will always be my son's father, no matter what. Your children's mother will be that, their mother. Referring to her as anything other than that is a recipe for disaster, not just in your co-parenting relationship with their mother, but also to your ongoing relationship with your children. You see, their mom is a part of them, just like you are a part of them. When you disparage the other parent, you disparage a part of them. Don't make that mistake. Number 8, keep the conflict away from your children. My relationship with my son's father is not always sunshine and roses. Sometimes we have disagreements. But if you ask my son, he thinks his dad and I have never argued. This is because we never argue in front of him. If you have a disagreement with your children's mother, discuss it with her at a time when the children are not with either one of you. Also, be careful about what you leave on your text messages and emails if your children like to get on your phone. They often wander into text messages and emails, and they can see all the back and forth between the two of you. This goes back to using a program like Our Family Wizard to communicate with your former spouse. Using a program like that can keep those types of messages from being viewed by your children when they are using your phone. 9th, avoid becoming a Disneyland Dad. When your children are with you, especially if you do not get to see them as often as you would like, it is easy to become the Disneyland Dad that lets them stay up late, eat junk food, and entertain them all the time. But while this may be fun for them in the short term, it also creates issues between you and your former spouse. Further, over time, your children come to see you as just that, the fun guy who spoils them and entertains them all the time, instead of their father who sets loving boundaries for them, helps them with homework, teaches them what it means to be responsible, gives them a reasonable amount of chores, and enjoys doing activities with them as rewards for good behavior or a job well done. And 10th, be there and be present. My last tip for men who are trying to effectively co-parent with their former spouses after a divorce is to be there and be present. Be at the ball games, competitions, school events, medical appointments, and other events for your children. And when you are there, be present. It is easy in our overconnected society to be on your phone, answering email, or taking phone calls all hours of the day and night. However, if you want to show your former spouse that you intend to be an active, involved co-parent, then do it. Show her that you intend to be as involved as she is in the lives of your children, and that just because you are not together anymore, you intend to be active and involved even when it is not your scheduled parenting time. Over time, your former spouse should soften up, and your kids will appreciate that you are always there for them. Hi, I'm Amber James, founder of New Beginnings Family Law. If you're facing divorce or other family law matters, such as child support, child custody, adoption, and more, we want to help.
New life, new directions, new beginnings.